Let's get straight to the facts. The physics of phase, dissecting Page's signal chain. We are operating in a strictly analytical capacity for this explainer. Our objective? To dissect one of the most fundamentally misunderstood electrical routing networks in all of recorded audio history.
So why does your Whole Lotta Love tone sound like a complete, muddy mess? Consider the primary tonal delusion afflicting millions of intermediate and senior classic rock guitarists out there. You know the drill. You plug into a $10,000 vintage amplifier, you crank the gain, and you strike a chord, expecting that razor-sharp, aggressive studio bite. But instead, the acoustic output is just an indistinct, muddy mess. Why does this happen? Well, it's because you're operating under the false assumption that tone is just a byproduct of pure volume and expensive boutique hardware. You're completely ignoring the basic laws of physics governing the very front end of your signal chain. The clinical truth here is vastly more complex than simply turning a volume knob clockwise. That signature bite definitely wasn't achieved by stepping on an expensive overdrive pedal. No, it was achieved through a highly specific, mathematically chaotic electrical layout hidden deep inside the control cavity of a 1959 Les Paul. This instrument wasn't treated as some sacred artifact, it was literally weaponized through mechanical manipulation. By altering the routing of the internal copper wiring, the raw frequencies generated by the strings were permanently and fundamentally altered before they ever traveled down the instrument cable.
21. That's the exact mathematical yield of the switching matrix we're analyzing today. By replacing standard volume and tone controls with 4 push-pull potentiometers, this instrument stops being just a simple guitar and becomes a highly complex routing system. This single modification unlocks 21 distinct tone combinations. It allows for splitting the humbuckers into single coils, placing them in series or parallel, and, critically, aggressively forcing them in or out of phase. Now, 10 of these 21 combinations actually remain hum canceling. The takeaway here, you have to stop viewing the guitar as just a piece of wood and start viewing it as an active electrical grid.
To really grasp this, we have to establish the fundamental physics of humbucker phase. Phase, in this context, refers to the electrical and magnetic polarity relationship between two pickup coils, basically dictating whether their waveforms add or subtract. In a standard dual pickup setup, the signal runs in parallel and in phase. What does that actually mean? It means one pickup is pushing the speaker cone forward at the exact same millisecond the other pickup is pushing it forward. Their physical waveforms combine. This gives you maximum output, a full frequency response, and what your ear perceives as a thick, standard guitar tone. Looking at standard parallel wave addition on the left, those signals reinforce each other. But by pulling a specific potentiometer, this custom harness forces the neck and bridge pickups to violently fight each other electrically. It's acoustic warfare. One instructs the speaker to pull, while the other instructs it to push. The mathematical result? Out-of-phase cancellation. The signals literally subtract from one another, acting as an extreme, passive analog filter. Let's examine this Gibson schematic like a post-mortem lab report. We need to track the exact path of the electrons through the 4-conductor wiring. To achieve this out-of-phase state, the hot and ground leads of the pickup are mathematically reversed. Instead of your standard hookup, where, say, the black wire acts as the hot output and the green acts as ground, the signal routing is entirely flipped by the push-pull switch. This polarity reversal ensures that the waveform generated by the bridge pickup becomes a mirror opposite of the waveform generated by the neck pickup. And the clinical math of this phase cancellation is absolutely ruthless. When these opposing waveforms collide, they don't perfectly eliminate all sound. Because remember, the two pickups are reading slightly different geographic points on the vibrating string. Instead, they cancel out their common frequencies. This mechanical interaction mathematically deletes the fundamental frequencies, specifically obliterating that muddy 200 to 400 Hz low end. What you're left with is a massive, hollow, highly concentrated mid-range spike right in the kilohertz range. It's like you've effectively installed a fixed wah-wah pedal inside the guitar's circuitry using nothing but raw physics. There's a brilliant technical definition from some premier wiring literature that says when two pickups are out of phase, the resulting sound is simply the leftovers from the pickup's cancellations. The signal that actually survives this electrical combat is thin, weak, and distinctly nasal. Honestly, to the untrained ear sitting alone in a practice room, this tone sounds completely broken. It sounds weak and hollow, but here's the absolutely crucial detail. This mathematically filtered, honky leftover signal isn't the final product. It is the heavily sculpted raw material strictly required for the next stage of our diagnostic, the amplifier. Let's follow the signal chain out of the output jack and into the front end of a cooking amplifier, historically a saturated Supro combo or later a heavily modified Marshall tube preamp. Now, when you feed a standard full-frequency humbucker signal into an amp running at maximum volume, that heavy low end forces the power tubes to choke and distort unpleasantly, which creates that mud we talked about. But feed those exact same tubes our thin, out-of-phase signal and the mechanical reaction changes entirely. Because that low-end mud was physically deleted back at the guitar, the power tubes just don't choke. Instead, they grab that massive mid-range spike and compress it incredibly cleanly, unlocking the true acoustic payoff.
Which brings us to the final acoustic result of this diagnostic case study. The amplifier's compression grabs those out-of-phase leftovers and transforms them into a laser-sharp, cutting vintage roar. When you print this onto analog tape, this mathematically filtered signal occupies a highly specific frequency band. It simply doesn't compete with the bass guitar. It doesn't clash with the kick drum. It cuts perfectly through a dense stereo mix, entirely devoid of any low-end mud. It sounds massive precisely because it has been surgically stripped of unnecessary sonic weight.
So your directive from this explainer is crystal clear. Abandon the mythology surrounding vintage gear. Stop throwing thousands of dollars of boutique equipment to solve problems that are actually caused by a fundamental misunderstanding of electrical phasing. Subscribe to the Tone Manual and start mastering the pure science of your signal chain. Because before you go out and buy yet another boutique overdrive pedal, you really have to ask yourself, do you truly understand the raw physics of the instrument already in your hands?